Okay. Can I do a thing real quick?
Sure.
Wait, am I allowed to ask your age?
I'm 22.
Okay. Okay. There's a lot of different debates that I've had on this topic with a lot of different types of people. My issue with
I'm definitely the best one.
sure. Yeah, so far, yeah. My issue with the debates relating to the region is I feel like there are two very, very separate stories that get told, and the stories make it so that both sides have no chance of ever reconciling with each other. So if you are a Palestinian, then you've been living in the region peacefully with Jews for millennia, and a whole bunch of evil Jewish people came from Europe after getting Britain to backstab them after World War I, and then they came and they took over the region. They raped and killed all your people, and then they blew shit up, and they kept expanding, and they just fucked you over. And that's like the history of the Jews in the region. And then if you are a super ultra Zionist, then your perspective is Britain made you a promise. You were getting Holocausted in Europe. Arabs were fucking you over and trying to kill you for literally no reason over and over again in the Middle East. And that these are like the two separate stories that get told by both groups of people. And there are elements of truth to both, but both of them miss crucial aspects on the other side. So that guy diving into a billion different things. So the most commonly retold stuff in the beginning of the region, there was a super Zionist, I'm assuming she's super Zionist, a couple of them that I've argued with. I'm thinking of a debate I had recently with Eilat, I think Eilat Winf or something. I don't know, fucking name, something like that. And her story was that Jewish people came to the Middle East in the early 1900s, and they wanted to kumbaya with the Arabs, and for literally no reason, the Arabs started to bomb them and kill them, and then the Jews had to fight back, desperately while they were getting holocausted and attacked by the Arabs, and that's like where the whole like start of the conflict came from, which is obviously ridiculous because obviously if you're an Arab after the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, all of the kind of like states around you are starting to become states, like Iraq, and Lebanon and Syria and Egypt and Jordan, like everybody's getting a state, and then all of a sudden you get a bunch of Jews coming in, so you're feeling like invaded. It's not cool. But then when I argue against Palestinians, I get this like the Arabs welcomed the Jews with open arms, and they wanted to also kumbaya, and then the Jews out of nowhere started to attack them. It's just like an example of like you can go like at every single stage of Israeli-Palestinian history. The way the '67 war gets retold is crazy. The way that the conflict leading up to the Suez Crisis in '56 is retold like a million different ways. The ways of the Yom Kippur War is retold a million different ways. Conflict with Syria and Lebanon is retold in a million different ways. Like all of these things get retold over and over again. And the frustrating part about talking about any of these issues is that it feels like everybody kind of has these talking points, and then when people go and they argue or debate them, it's like, here's a talking point for how the other side is completely and totally fucking evil. And as long as that conversation happens that way and it continues to go in that way, there's literally no reconciliation. And yeah. This is just my perspective on it. If you go and listen to me debate anybody on the right Zionist side, and I encourage it, I think Simcha Rockman or something, or that Eilat Wilf, like if you go and watch either of those debates, I don't know what you would think about it, but my guess is you would either be surprised, or if you're like an Israeli person, because I get a bunch of mean emails from Israeli people when I have these debates, is they think that I'm a crazy pro-Palestinian person. So like, for instance, if like October 7th had happened, I've said this before and I continue to say this, if the October 7th attacks had happened in the West Bank, I would care substantially less because the Israeli like objective right now is literally to just slowly kind of like take over more and more and more of the West Bank, which is another reason why I get upset when people talk about like Gaza and like, oh, they're trying to occupy Gaza and put settlements up in Gaza. I don't think that's the goal. I don't think Israelis give a fuck about Gaza that much. I think what they really want is the West Bank because of all the crazy religious bullshit, right? That's why they call it Sumerian Judea and their historic lands and the blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I don't know why I'm ranting at you. It's just frustrating because I get labeled by both sides of this just like insane shit. It was very frustrating. And I think that the issue itself is like really complicated and really, there's a lot of stories to be told on both sides. And it just frustrates me when I feel like only one side of the story gets told. And then on the West, we get to kind of like circle jerk and say like how cool it is that we have our positions. But like realistically, there's no approach to a solution because yeah, the stories people tell are so insane. Like I feel like, I'm not trying to push you on this, but like, I think if you were a Jew in Israel, I think there's like good reason to be afraid of living in an ethnic minority state if you're Jewish. Like, I think that's a fair concern given Jews' experience with every other Arab state in the Middle East. But I think it's also understandable why, if you're a Palestinian and you're living, you know, in a camp in fucking Syria or Lebanon for your entire life. Maybe your parents have for their entire life, right? Because there are people that have been pushed out since 48 or 67. Why they might feel like, well, this is bullshit. I don't want to move back to just like the West Bank or the Gaza Strip. But I think as long as we tell like the harshest side of each story and the other side isn't willing to like acknowledge anything on the other side, it just feels like intractable, I guess. But
I don't think it's complicated at all. I think there's an occupier and an occupied, and we should decolonize Palestine. Free Palestine. That's what I believe.
I hope you buy it thick enough. All right, good luck. Why, I don't know why I wasted my time. What a waste of time. I don't know why. Just fuck me. Okay, it's all good. Okay.